If you get confused as to what lanes to use and where, this video is going to give you all the guidelines. Now in the UK, we drive on the left, and the only time we move out to the right is if we're going to overtake. Now, although for a right-hand turn we might actually change our position a little bit, this video is going to be looking at lanes. Now, I'm in a one-way street. I've just took up the right-hand lane because I'm going to turn right, and that's what you would do if you were going to turn right from a one-way. Stay in the left-hand lane to go ahead or turn left, but sometimes the right-hand lane in a one-way street may say that that's the lane for going ahead and the left-hand lane just for turning off to the left. And the way that you would see this is by the arrows on the ground, and sometimes there's signage on the side of the road that will tell you what lanes that you would need. Now, in your local town and city, you most probably have a bit of local knowledge as to what lanes to take up. But in places that you don't usually drive in, keep your car well back from the vehicles in front so that you can see the markings on the ground. Now, once I've done my right-hand turn out of this one-way street, as soon as I get round the corner, I'm taking up a left-hand lane on a dual carriageway because I'm back to my normal driving, keep left and less overtaking or turning right. The road is like a good book. If you rip out pages, you lose the plot. If you don't read the road markings and the road signs, you'll lose the plot. This one here is saying at the end of the one-way street, I take up the left-hand lane for turning left. So let's move on to traffic lights. Sometimes when you come up to traffic lights, the road may not be wide enough for two lanes. If that's the case, just sit central in your half of the road. On some approaches, they may not have lanes marked out, but the road may be wide enough to take up two lanes of traffic. If that's the case, keep to the left if you're turning left, keep to the right if you're turning to the right. And if you're going ahead, usually keep towards the left. But if there are lanes, left-hand lane for turning left, right-hand lane for turning right, and you'll have to look for the arrows for ahead. On this one, it shows you to go ahead in the left-hand lane, whereas this one, it tells you to do it in the right-hand lane. Now, if you're going ahead, the norm for going ahead would be in the left-hand lane. So that's when they would normally put an arrow to go ahead if it was needed in the right-hand lane. Now, of course, if somebody's driving along and assuming I'm just going to keep to the left, you may find that even when you're going ahead in the right-hand lane and you're doing it correctly, people might start coming up on the left-hand side going ahead when they're not supposed to. Anywhere where you're going ahead in the right-hand lane, keep a close eye on your left side mirror just to make sure nobody's coming up the inside. So here you'll see the left-hand lane is for ahead, but of course that would be used for turning left as well. The right-hand lane would be used for turning to the right. Look here where the sign tells me I need the right-hand lane to go ahead. So the left-hand lane is purely for turning left. But as I make my way through this traffic light junction, the other side, it tells me I need the left-hand lane for going ahead. So I check my side mirror as I move back here. The right-hand lane here is just for turning right. So of course, if I'm not looking at the arrows, I won't know. So look at this one, turning right at the traffic light. So I'm taking up the right-hand lane. Now at the next set of traffic lights, I'm going to follow the road ahead. Now, I told you that the road is like a good book. Well, of course, if people don't put signage up, that doesn't help us with our book. And this is where, if it's not your local town or city, you need those signs to help you. Look on the left where it has the sign telling us that the right-hand lane is for ahead. Some places they're not put up at all, and sometimes they're very late, so they don't help you to take up those lanes. See here again, right-hand lane for ahead. If you're coming up to busy junctions, ease off your gas a little bit and have a good look around for the road markings and the signs. Now here I'm taking a right turn at the lights. I haven't got a lane as such here, but just a little box for me to sit in, which now then allows the cars to pass me on the left-hand side while I'm waiting to make my right turn. Let's take a look at mini roundabouts. So the same as I mentioned with traffic lights, if when you approach there's only enough room for one vehicle, then just say central on your half of the road. So on this diagram, you can see that we're showing where you keep in the left lane for turning left, the right lane for turning right. If you approach a mini roundabout and there aren't lanes marked out, but it's clear that it's enough room for two vehicles to approach, then keep to the left to turn left, keep to the right to turn right. Now you can also see from this diagram that on one approach I've got going ahead in the right-hand lane, and on another approach it's going ahead in the left-hand lane. Well, if you look at it logically, if you can only go left at the roundabout or ahead, then it's obviously that the left-hand lane would be for turning left and the right-hand one would be for going ahead. So even if I had no lanes marked out with arrows and I could see that there was only one road to the left and other than that you can follow it ahead, then obviously I would keep towards the right if I was going to go ahead. So you can see the people coming in from the left, they can either go ahead or turn right. So obviously here the left-hand lane would be the better for going ahead. So even if I didn't have lanes marking it, if the road was wide enough, I would keep towards the left. Now some mini roundabouts might have 4 roads coming in, whereas this diagram only shows 3. Well, my advice would be to stay in the left-hand lane or keep to the left if you're going ahead, unless any arrows tell you otherwise. So let's take a look at that in video. Here on the first mini roundabout approach, it's telling me the right-hand lane to go ahead. But at the second mini roundabout just after, it's telling me the left-hand one. So again, totally reliant on the arrows. There was no signage on the approach to the first one. So here, taking up the right-hand lane because I'm going to turn right at the roundabout. The left-hand lane would be used for the left turn. So let's take a look at the larger roundabouts. So the basic rule is if you're turning left at a roundabout, take up the left-hand lane. So it doesn't matter what exit number it is, if it's a left-hand turn, it's a left-hand lane. Now, again, of course, we need to look at signage, we need to look at road markings, because some places it may say that if it's the second or third exit off to the left, it may make you approach the roundabout in a different lane. You'll need to look out for that. I class a left-hand turn as if you were looking at the roundabout as a clock face, so anything to the left of 12 being a left-hand turn. Now, on the approach to most big roundabouts, they'll have a sign on the left-hand side. It maps out the whole of the roundabout, tells you all the exits that you can take off that roundabout. Of course, if you don't look at the sign, you won't know where the exits are, and therefore you won't know what lanes to use on the approach. Now, let's have a look at going ahead at a roundabout. Now, and ahead I would class on the clock face anything at 12. This diagram's just looking at a 2-lane approach. Now, I would look at it the same as the mini roundabouts. I'd look for the arrows, but basically I would stay in the left-hand lane. Unless, like this one, it tells you to take up the right-hand lane. Again, you're totally reliant on looking at the road markings and the road signs on the approach. Now, if like this roundabout, it has the right-hand lane for going ahead, stay in the right-hand lane when you go on the roundabout also. But keep a close eye on your left side mirror when you go to leave in case somebody didn't obey the rules. Even though the right-hand lane has the ahead arrow, that would also be used for turning right. Now, a right turn I would class as anything that's to the right of 12 on the clock. Now remember, this is just a basic rule because you may have the odd roundabout that the exit goes off to the right, but they tell you to do it in a different lane. So here we've got a 3-lane approach. You can see the left-hand lane for turning left, the middle lane used for going ahead, the right-hand lane is for turning right, but this one's saying it's a multi-purpose where you can actually use the right-hand lane to go ahead, but be very careful. The right-hand lane is for a more experienced driver. It'll be for somebody that's most probably wanting to move faster than the people in the middle lane. And of course, sometimes when you leave the roundabout the other side, there's only 1 lane. So the person in the right-hand lane going ahead here may struggle when they try to come off. One of my pet hates are people that use the middle lane to turn right. On a 3-lane approach like this, if the middle lane just has the going ahead arrow, that's all you should be using it for. People that turn right from the middle lane make it very difficult when people try to leave the roundabout that are turning right and using it correctly in the right-hand lane, that when they then try to move to the left to come off, they can't move over because somebody's used the wrong lane. Now, like I mentioned to you before, sometimes the signage and road markings may tell you to use the middle lane for turning right. What I'm explaining here is just the basic rules. Now, if you were faced with a 4-lane approach, I would use the second one from the left to do the ahead. Now, if you have a look at this next one, it has multi-purpose lanes. I'm going to turn left, which it tells me to do in the left-hand lane. The middle lane says it's for turning left and for going ahead, and the right-hand lane is for going ahead, but it would also be used for turning right at the roundabout. And when I leave the roundabout, I take up the left-hand lane because I keep left unless I'm overtaking or turning right. Where this one just has the bog standard rules, left lane for left, middle lane for ahead. The right hand lane has an ahead arrow, but that's for turning right. And a lot of places where you see the ahead arrow in the right hand lane is so that people don't come from other countries, come up to our roundabouts and try to go the wrong way round the roundabout, thinking the right arrow means turn right. So this one here just has a 2-lane approach, the left-hand lane for turning left, and the right-hand lane has an ahead arrow, but that's multi-purpose for going ahead and turning right. So take a look at this next one. I'm going to use that multi-purpose lane. I'm turning left, and if you look on the ground, it's telling me I can use the left lane or the middle. Now, because I have some local knowledge and I know when I leave the roundabout that I'm going to need the middle lane on the approach is the better one for me to then flow round into the middle lane when I leave. Now this one here has a filter lane. I've had my signage earlier to tell me, and what happens is as I come down here a little bit further, it'll create a brand new lane for me that filters up the left hand side, and I don't even have to give way at the roundabout. Now, some of those filter lanes that go off to the left stay right next to the roundabout, but some of them actually branch off quite a way over to the left, so you're not actually next to the roundabout. But because I'm turning left, I stay in that left-hand lane, and then I'm going to flow up the inside of these vehicles here. Notice how it has the hatchet markings dividing me off from the traffic that comes off in that right-hand lane. So let's take a look at going ahead. In a 2-lane approach like here, stay in the left-hand lane unless it tells you to do otherwise. Stay in the left-hand lane throughout the roundabout, and again when you leave, keep left unless overtaking or wanting to turn right. So this one has a 3-lane approach, so I'm taking up the middle lane to go ahead, the left lane's for turning left, the right-hand lane is multi-purpose, it's going to be going for going ahead and for turning right. And when I proceed onto the roundabout, I then keep the left-hand lane. And when I go to leave, again, I leave in the left-hand lane. The 3-lane approach has the middle lane for going ahead, the left-hand lane for turning left, the right-hand lane it's saying multi-purpose for turning right and for going ahead. But watch when we actually go to make our way onto the roundabout, because there's 2 exits off to the left. And that means that the left-hand lane stays on that left-hand side on the roundabout for quite a way through the roundabout. So as I go to make my way onto this roundabout, I keep in the middle lane throughout. But when I leave in the left-hand lane. Here where I'm going ahead, I take up the middle lane, which is multi-purpose. The right-hand lane is for technically going right, but also used for going ahead. As I make my way on, I come round in the left-hand lane, but you can see that I need to go past the first 2 exits, and then I keep branching over to the left. So different to the other one where we use the middle lane throughout the roundabout. Now I keep saying to you that when you leave a roundabout, to leave in the left unless you're overtaking or turning right. So at this roundabout, I'm going to follow the road ahead. Now, I'm using the middle lane on the approach because that's what it's telling me to do. As I make my way through the roundabout, you're going to see that I take up the middle lane, and I have actually got local knowledge, and if I was taking this route normally, I would leave in the right-hand lane because I know the right-hand turn is what I need to make once I've left the roundabout. Now, with my local knowledge, I'd curve around this roundabout, but I would keep curving off into the right-hand lane if I was going to turn right. But for somebody that didn't know that and came off in the left-hand lane, then realised they needed to turn right, then like this, they would safely move over to the right-hand lane. So let's look at right turns at roundabouts. For a right-hand turn, anything to the right of 12, you need the right-hand lane on the approach. Again, have a look at any local knowledge that might tell you that you need to be in the middle lane or something else to turn right. You then stay in the right-hand lane as you make your way round the roundabout, but again, when you leave in the left-hand lane. Reading the road ahead and these markings are going to help you take up your lanes early. If you look at this one here where I'm just coming down to the traffic lights to turn left, this is from a one-way street. But as I make my way through these lights, I want to turn right at the roundabout, and there are 3 lanes. So I need to make sure I plan very early and get across into that right-hand lane. take a look at this one. I'm turning right at a roundabout. I take up the right-hand lane to take the right turn. And once I've made my way round, it guides me off in the right-hand lane because the left lane has the filter lane coming on. Once I've gone past that section where they're joining, I safely move back to the left lane. Now, the more lanes you get, the more confusing. You can see here, look, we've gone to 3 lanes. Left lane's for going ahead, the middle lane is for going ahead, and the right-hand lane has got for a right-hand turn. So the actual right-hand lane turns off at the traffic lights, whereas the other 2 lanes go ahead. Turning right at the roundabout, I'd have been in the right-hand lane at the traffic lights. Going ahead, I'd stay in the middle, but I'm going left, so I take up the left-hand lane. Remember, like I told you, the road is like a good book. Don't rip out any of the pages and lose the plot. I hope this video has given you a better understanding as to what lanes you should be using. And if you found it helpful, like and subscribe for some more driving videos.